Look at that scan there. That actually worked really well. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, I'm going to run you through using the Creality CR-Scan Lizard. This is a fairly new to market 3D scanner that's kind of in a price point that's slightly above what some of the lower cost units were as of late, but not quite the prosumer or professional grade ones that you see for thousands upon thousands of dollars. I backed the Kickstarter on this particular platform, and while that didn't go so smoothly and there was a lot of weirdness that went along with it, I did finally get my product, and I've had it for months and months now. I've used it a fair amount. I've learned a lot as I went, and I wanted to do that before I really tried to do much of a video on it. So today, that's what we're going to do. I'll put a link to where you can go find information on these. I'm not sure the best place to go to buy them personally. Like I said, I got it through the Kickstarter when it first came out, and right now I'm not sure exactly who is carrying them, but I think that they're fairly readily available at this time. Now, the reason I decided to pick one of these up is for the process that I want to show you today. Now, I've got my Element Ecto here. Now, this isn't a stock Element Ecto. Underneath is the TGH Titan conversion chassis, but the rest of it is pretty much stock, including this Ecto body. Now, the reason that I wanted a 3D scanner is so that I could take and scan something like a body or a chassis, and then I could design parts from that. What I'm not looking to do is scan a body so that I can replicate or remake the body itself. A lot of people buy 3D scanners because they want to take an item and they want to scan it and then just straight 3D print it. And Creality advertises that type of function. When I bought this, I bought like the deluxe kit, and it's got this little turntable and a mount so you can get the coloring from a camera that attaches to it. And I've used it, and I've used their software in general. I don't know that I would be totally sold on that functionality working just the way that they're advertising. But for the way that I like to use it, this thing has been fantastic, and I've actually really enjoyed using this tool. So I want to show you my experience with this up to this point. Maybe you'll find it to be an interesting enough process that you'll dive into it for similar reasons. The scanner itself is this unit on top. Now, it is an all-white unit. This is like a silicone rubber sleeve. They sent a couple with it, one in yellow, one in blue. So when you see it online, it may just be all white. And then it's on a little tripod that they sent as well. Now, you can use this in two modes. One is handheld mode, which you actually need to turn it 90 degrees for. And the other is desktop mode, where you leave it on this tripod and then you put the turntable in front of it and spin it. I rarely use that method. I have a few times, but I 99% of the time after that have done handheld mode. I don't have it plugged in currently because the fan on this particular unit is quite loud. Sounds all the owners of these say the same thing, so you're gonna hear some fan noise at least while this is running from now on. This cable plugs into the scanner and it Y's out. There's a 110 volt plug on one end and a USB on the other end of that Y splitter that goes right into your PC. What we're gonna be doing today with this is I'm gonna be scanning this body so that we can develop a 3D printable interior roll cage for this. And then I'm gonna offer that roll cage up to you guys for download. So that's going to be our plan today. I've done this with a few bodies already, including the Proline Power Wagon, and in the process of doing the same with the Proline Cliffhanger. So if you're interested in either of those, you can check the links in the description below, and this one will be there shortly as well. Since we're going to do parts that go on the inside of this body, I'm going to scan the inside. There is some details on the outside that will be lost doing that, you know, these molded pieces, door handles, things like that. But we're also going to see the other sides of them, and we'll even pick up some of the holes in the body that are still empty at this time. So before we can do that though, this is a scanner that uses light, and the enemy of light is reflection. This yellow color may scan just fine. Actually, probably it would have no issues whatsoever. But the clear windows, those are going to let some light pass through, and it just makes it a little bit easier if we take one extra step, and that is to use a very, very expensive developer spray. Or if you don't want to go that route, you can use the cheapest dry shampoo you can find on Amazon. I say the cheapest because it works the best. I've stolen my wife's most expensive dry shampoos and used them as well, and they don't work nearly as well. And that doesn't make anybody in the house happy. Now, this is basically fire in a can, so highly suggest doing this like not around your workspace. Ingredients include butane, isobutane, propane, and rice starch, alcohol, and some perfume. Like it's fire. And then I know I said one last step, but there's another as well. And this is just something I found to work really well. I've got some of this very thin pinstriping tape, or masking tape really, but it's for very fine edges. You can find this pretty cheap, and I found it best to take this and put it in some like random patterns inside of the body. This scanner tries to follow edges to make things line up. And if you have too long of a consistent area, like the length of this door, where it can't connect the dots or find any features that differ from each other, then it likes to just try and shorten it up just on its own, and it's not correct. So if you put this down in kind of a crossing pattern just randomly throughout, it helps tremendously. A lot of scanners use these, which are tracking dots, and I've used these quite a bit. They work okay, but this scanner isn't really built around tracking dots. It's not trying to look for tracking dots. So these don't work as well as just taking some tape and throwing it around in there. Trust me. I'm gonna put my tape down and then I'm gonna go spray it with the dry shampoo and we'll be right back. The inside of our body is lightly coated with some of that dry shampoo. The reflection of the light makes it a little difficult. And I've got the CR Studio software loaded as well. So I'd selected hand scan, which is what I was talking about before. We're going to hold this and actually move it around ourselves. This software does allow you to do multiple scans and stitch them together, but I've had the best luck with trying to get one scan that captures all of it. You don't go too slow, just make nice, consistent moves around while watching the screen. That's what I've found the best luck with, especially for the type of use that I'm trying to go for. So here we go. I'm gonna hit scan. It's gonna give us a little countdown with a preview of what it's seeing so we can adjust our depth. And then we're gonna give this thing a go. So we're in the corner of that body. We're gonna try and catch inside. Got the inside of the hood there. Let's see the roof area. Now I don't need to get the whole back, but it may have jumped on us. Oh, we lost scanning for a minute, but it looks like it recovered. Oh, it was a little bit. So we're gonna stop the scan there, see if it processes. We might try that once more with my hand at a better angle. I think the body probably would have been best if it was going in that direction with me. So we got a little preview there, and that scan did not work out. So we're going to trash that, and we're gonna do that scan again. Go get the nose of the body. Get the front of the grill. Try and make sure we get the entire roof area, as that's important to what we're trying to do. Spinning the body is, I don't think, gonna work. It's the first time I've ever tried that. Look at that scan there. That actually worked really well. That scan is fully functional. That gives us a good look overall, and we're actually going to be fine with that one. Scan 2 is one we're going to process, and I want to unclick the fill holes. That is where it tries to take a scan data and then turn it into a manifold object, one that has no gaps so you could actually 3D print it. And I just haven't found it that great. Our face count, we could reduce this here, but I'm actually going to reduce it in a different place. So we're going to process this one as is. And here is the output. Now, that looks pretty much like an ecto body. You can see that it's got these lines in there, and those are our tape lines. Now, that's not the most pretty thing in the world, but this is also the back side of the surface. What it thinks is the actual body is this inside. So this is what we were really looking at for what the scan was supposed to show. Now you can see this like break here in the seam that went along, but that's because our tape crossed right there and just covered it up. So it thinks that there was no surface there. Just this overall, a very clean scan that is going to work perfectly for what we need to do. We're now going to export that model, and we're going to take it over into our CAD program. Now into my favorite program, Fusion 360. So in here, I've saved a file already called Ecto Body, and I'm going to go to the insert, and I'm going to insert a mesh. We're going to browse to the mesh that we saved out of the CR Studio software and wait for it to load into here. Now you need to make sure that your units are correct for your import size. Mine is set to millimeter. And at this point, it's going to kind of insert, you can tell it's at some wonky angles. And I found it best to just get it placed roughly at this point, and then we're going to work on squaring that up in a little bit. Now, you can tell this is a little jumpy to move around here, and that is because in that export portion or the process portion, we had a number that was like 200,000 or it was 2 million. It's a very large number. And that is like the detail level of the model. Now, rather than diluting the model detail down in there so we never had a high quality one, I brought it in here, and then I'm going to knock down the quality in Fusion 360 since I don't need it to be wild. You can see that you can reduce this down to like a 10% quality, and it's still more than enough to be a very convincing model of one of these bodies. There. So now it's in place here. As you can see, that's the front view, and we're definitely not looking at the front of this. So at this point, what I have to do is actually go in and just do some rotation, move, rotate. It's a bit tedious, but I'm gonna time lapse you through what I do. Maybe there's a better way. There probably is. It's just not a workflow that it's just not something that I've had to do often enough. I just have to do it once per project. So this is the method that I've used up to this point. So at this point, we've got our body in position. It's done, so the front view is looking at the front, the right side is a proper right view. Pretty easy to see there. So that's what we're looking for. Now, as far as the quality that I was talking about, if you zoom in, you can see how many triangles there are. And the triangles are basically the level of quality. Each intersection point of each line is where a point exists. And basically what we need to do is just reduce the number of points. It can take an average and then just reduce the number of triangles overall, making this model much less heavy to work with as far as like in computer terms. So we're going to go into the mesh workspace up top, and we're going to do the reduce. We're going to select the body, which is the only one in here, and proportion, we're gonna go down to 10. So 10% of what we had before. You can see the triangles from this level now, which is a huge difference from where we were at. That is a very functional, it's gonna have all of the data that we need. It didn't really lose any of the functionality of this model, but all it did was make it much easier to work with. With that saved, this is now going to be my reference geometry for me to go further in the design. Now I'm not trying to turn this video into how to design a cage in Fusion 360. That's a long process and gets into a lot of things. So instead, I've opened up the file that I had from designing around the Power Wagon body. With this file here, you can see the cage inside of that body. It just was designed to fit into each of the little nooks and crannies. Watching CAD videos has proved to not be the most popular process on this channel. If enough of you are interested in learning it from a 3D scan, I know this is a pretty niche use case. It takes a piece of equipment that is not inexpensive, but is powerful. So if enough of you are interested, then we'll go ahead and do the video on how to design the actual cage to fit inside of the scan that we just created. But I am going to design up a cage for this Ecto body so that we can get it printed. And if you're interested in that cage, I'll have it up on my website for download. The cages that I've done previously, I've sold the files for about $1.99. Along with them, I've also added supplementary pieces like racing seats and a dash and all of that. So if you'd like to detail the body out even a little further, those pieces are available separately as well. Maybe you're interested in that. If it sounds like something you'd be after, let me know in the comments below. As always, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video also, and don't forget to subscribe so you see follow-up videos in the case that you guys do really enjoy seeing this type of content. I hope you guys enjoyed this fun little look at a new tool that I've really enjoyed playing with. As always, thanks again for watching the videos. We'll see you on the next one.